Hold up, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is Double M Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
We're talking about UFC 321 for the heavyweight championship. It is Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Let's talk about it.
This fight has a lot of implications, mostly for Tom Aspinall. So everybody knows Tom Aspinall was chasing Jon Jones for, a little bit more over than a year. And overall, obviously, Jon Jones ended up retiring. Aspinall got put from interim champ to full champion, and now we have this fight here. So the last fight, not the last fight, the fight to become heavyweight champion for Jon Jones was up against Ciryl Gane, which he dominated pretty easily, mind you. He was able to get Gane out of there early, did his little shimmy dance at the end, rode off into the sunset, for one more fight up until he was supposed to fight, or at least they were trying to set up the fight with Tom Aspinall. Now, with that being said, why is there a lot of implications for Tom Aspinall? Listen, if Tom Aspinall does not beat Ciryl Gane in the same dominant fashion that Jon Jones has, a lot of questions are going to be asked. If he loses to Ciryl Gane, a lot of things are going to be said, and by Jon Jones himself. So this is a must-win situation for Tom Aspinall. Not only does he have to win, but hopefully for him, he wins in a dominant fashion. And while Ciryl Gane is no pushover, other than for Jon Jones, I think Tom Aspinall can get it done, if I'm being honest with you. I think Tom Aspinall is well-rounded enough in the different disciplines that he has under his belt that he can get Ciryl Gane out of there. In the fights that I've seen Ciryl Gane, I'll be honest with you, I've not been impressed. There's not too many things that I've seen this man do that I would say, oh man, that is a insanely dominant champion right there. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to put the man down. But the heavyweight division in the UFC isn't really the deepest division, if I'm being honest with you. They have some heavy hitters like they had the Ngannou, the Jon Jones, obviously, now Tom Aspinall, all that. But it's definitely not the deepest division as far as talent. A lot of heavy hitters, sure. I'm not going to dispute that whatsoever. But as far as technically sound, good fighters, it's a little lacking. So with that being said, Tom Aspinall needs to go in there and put on a dominant performance. Even if he doesn't finish him off right away, I think he needs to look good in order for people to say, hey, look, man, see, he would have beat Jon Jones. He would have beat the man. Because if he doesn't, again, Jon Jones is going to come out with some dumb shit. He's going to come out and say some stuff. And a lot of people are going to say, well, then why didn't you fight him? And then Jon Jones is going to ignore it like he's been ignoring it for over a year and some change. So I think it's going to be a good fight. Again, I do believe Tom Aspinall is going to win the fight. But I feel like not only does he need to win, he needs to win in a spectacular fashion to show, see, I would have beat Jon Jones as well. So hopefully Tom Aspinall has a good performance. Hopefully he has a dominant performance. Hopefully he has a performance that would do well for him. And unfortunately for Ciryl Gane, he's just the dude that's caught in the middle between this situation. Because if Ciryl Gane does lose, hey man, that means he's gotten a crack at the title a few times now and not been successful. So unfortunately for Ciryl Gane, the only way to a question of does this man deserve a shot at the title, obviously he's going to become a champion if he wins this fight, but the only way that he's going to redeem himself of the times that he's not gotten a shot and not been able to succeed is by showing, see, I finally got it done. So hopefully Tom Aspinall, at least in my mind, I'm really hoping that he has a dominant performance, a good performance, and overall he wins the fight, because if not, man, you got to question what everybody's been saying. What do you think about that, my man?
It's funny. We talk about all these fighters that were dealt with bad hands, politically speaking. And to be honest, Tom Aspinall's tale kind of reminds me of a very familiar tale that we've actually been talking about in the boxing world. And again, this might be a bit of a stretch, but hear me out. I do think Tom Aspinall is in the same exact situation, maybe not to like 100% degree, but a very similar situation to what we saw with Dave Benavidez. Now, if you're not familiar, let me bring up to speed. Dave Benavidez was chasing the fight against Canelo Alvarez for God knows how long, and speculation aside of whether you think Canelo Alvarez was ducking or not, the fact of the matter is that fight didn't happen. Now, fast forward, Dave Benavidez goes up to light heavyweight, is trying to get a fight against Dimitri Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev, whoever the victor of that was. That's being tied up at the moment. Dimitri Bivol is out with I believe, an elbow injury. He's going to get that sewn up, which means that the WBC light heavyweight title was kind of up in the air at that point, leaving David Benavidez to be the interim holder of the WC belt. Now, the next fight that Dave Benavidez has is against Anthony Yarde, who doesn't really have that impressive a record. Yet, this fight that he has against Dave Benavidez is going to be his third crack at the belt. Now, let's switch over to the UFC. Tom Aspinall, who has been chasing John Jones for God knows how long, the better half of a year and a half, and for whatever reason, even the UFC was willing to contend for that $30 million, that fight never materialized, leaving Tom Aspinall to defend the UFC heavyweight interim title twice over now. And now he's going into this fight against Ciryl Gane, who again was trying to crack that heavyweight title against Francis Ngannou. That didn't happen. Francis Ngannou defended. Then tried to crack it against the second time against John Jones. That didn't happen, which means this is Ciryl Gane's third crack at the belt. Now the parallels are starting to come in, right? Now it's starting to look like a very serious situation for Dave Benavidez to hit Anthony Yarde as hard as he can, because if he loses that fight, now he's not going to look so great against the argument of, oh, see, Canelo would have cracked him. In that same instance, like you said, Tom Aspinall has to make his hardest stamp against Ciryl Gane, because if he doesn't make this look as dominant as a performance as he can be, guess what? All the John Jones fanboys are going to come right out of the woodwork and saying, see, if he couldn't even beat Ciryl Gane, what hope do you have against Johnny Bones Jones? And look, man, I'm pulling for it. I'm actually was on the side of Tom Aspinall making that fight against John Bones. And to be honest, I actually think he could have beat him. You think otherwise, but again, it is what it is. I do think the strong finishes that Tom Aspinall had, the fact that Ciryl Gane doesn't exactly look good against heavy punchers, again, the Francis Ngannou's, John Jones, Tom Aspinall is starting to look into be that field. I'd probably say he's the third strongest fighter of those three fighters. But again, the fact of the matter is, Tom Aspinall, his fights on record, you can probably finish him in your lunch break. That's how good he is as a knockout artist. If you can finish most of his fights on a 30-minute lunch break, you can finish all of his fights and just be right back on time for work, not missing a beat. So I do think Tom Aspinall has a great standing for him looking to be good against the Ciryl Gane fight. But again, Ciryl Gane has a heavy hill to climb. And to be honest, I don't think he's going to be able to climb that hill, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, man, I would agree with you. I don't think Ciryl Gane is that dude. I think Tom Aspinall should win this. Like I said, he just needs to win in a dominant fashion. Look, listen, I would still love to see the Tom Aspinall and John Bones fight. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see it. It's just a matter of how well Tom Aspinall does in this particular fight that we'll see what happens. Either way, it's going to be a good fight. I think you guys should all tune in, especially again, just simply for the implications of what happens afterwards. On top of that, we'll see, the reality of the circumstances. Like I said a little bit ago, the heavyweight division in the UFC isn't that deep. So who does he fight next after that? So it'll be interesting to see what happens, man. I know obviously we got a number one contenders list and all that kind of good stuff in the UFC rankings, but again, too many big names out there? Not really. We'll see what happens, man. It'll be interesting either way. Again, just simply because of the implications, simply because of we know John Jones is going to say some shit after the fight regardless. So, man, we'll see what happens, man. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.